Hello people of the world, welcome back to my channel. It's a cloudy December day and today I'm gonna be talking about what I was doing over the past year. I mentioned in my previous video. I know it's been a while since posting any videos, more than a year, that I might tell more what exactly happened, so here I am. The quick and dirty answer, so to speak, is I had a dissertation. I was in my final year in my university, Edinburgh Napier. Dissertation took quite a big part of my time over that year. So today I'm gonna be sharing my experience, how I got through it and how I got 80% on it, and I won myself a prize for statistics. So stay tuned. Hello, hello. Ooh. Hey. And here we are on the beach, as my previous video about Varna. So in the beginning I had to choose my topic, obviously, and what I did, I chose a financial topic about a module that I took in Germany. Obviously you have to choose a topic that needs to be related more or less to a module that you've taken throughout your years in uni. And I realized there are three types of people in this situation. The first of them are the people who know exactly what they're going to be writing about. They've made their choice prior to starting the fourth year. Maybe they've come up with an idea over the third year, because if I'm not mistaken, I got the requirements for the dissertation as early as prior to my third year, because I had 1 year in advance to check out what the requirements are. And so yeah, those people know more or less how they're gonna do it, so they might not find it as stressful. Second type of people are the ones who are interested in a topic but aren't sure in their knowledge, in their skills. How should I say it? Maybe say you had an exam and didn't perform that well, but you still want to do it, but you kind of doubt yourself. So my advice is don't doubt yourself. Obviously it's just a temporary situation, more or less. You just had this mark and from then on it's going to be only upwards. Don't give it up. In my case, the topic that I chose, I really couldn't understand it in the beginning, but I wanted to do it. So the fact that I didn't know how exactly I should undertake the research and so on didn't bother me as much. So if you're interested in something, go for this one, because the dissertation takes months to complete, and so you need to have this inner motivation to complete it. Otherwise, if it's just something, oh let's check this one, oh let's check that one, let's see this one, yeah, and you're gonna end up doing something halfway or half done, so it's not gonna be okay, so to speak. Once you're interested, as I was, you get good results. And so the third type of people are the ones who haven't really decided what they want to write about. They haven't made up their mind. My advice is, again, see what kind of interests you. Maybe see which module you were good at, more or less, in terms of marks as a starting point. Okay, once you find out this teacher for this module that you more or less like, you can then go and ask him or her about feedback. How did you perform over the semester? What are your weak, strong points? And just ask for advice. Which topic or area might get you a good grade? Of course, it's not all about the grade, but you still, of course, need it, and yeah, it needs to be something of interest to you. Okay, so let me tell you how I actually decided on the topic. it's quite far away from what I just told you. The answer is I asked my flatmate, or it was my landlord in that case, but I just asked him, okay, I'm interested in finance and I know this and that. What could you recommend me? And he was like, gold. And I was like, wait, that's actually a good idea. Because my topic, let's say it, is about cryptocurrencies and again, the stock markets, what their behavior would be like during market volatility, say another 2008 crisis. How will they perform in that scenario? So is, say, cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as good as gold during those times of crisis? Like, is that a safe haven? You might want to Google that. So that was like a aha moment. So you never know when this will come. Don't stop asking people, because you might come up with a really interesting topic that you'll never expect you'll get it from your lecturer or from the academic sphere. So now that you have decided what you're going to be writing about, it's a good idea, if you have consulted your lecturer already, you have more or less kind of a structure, or it's more informed. Well, if you have asked a friend, as in my case, I just suggested to my lecturer, obviously, because he knows how the layout of the dissertation should look like. And that brings me to the second point, which is more or less interconnected with the first one, but for every single person is different. So that is, read the requirements. And I'm saying read the requirements because it's gonna make your job easier. It's gonna show you how you need to undertake that research. My advice is either prior or after you've made your decision, just read the requirements. I got a document about, I don't know, 10-20 pages. I'm gonna be wrong, I'm gonna lie to you. Anyways, for every uni is different, and also for, I did bachelor's, not master's, so again, they're completely different types of academic works. Read it thoroughly, read everything that needs to be in there, because this more or less gives you at least 50% of the mark. Because if you complete the steps, you basically check the criteria, like the markers can tick the things that you've done and things that you didn't. Do the requirements and then we'll go to the next topic. Now that once you have the idea, you have read the requirements, you have more or less an idea how you're gonna approach this task or challenge, say. Then in my case I had to write a proposal in the beginning, which was about 2000 words, and it was a brief summary how your actual dissertation will look like. But it's a very key one. Probably your lecturers will tell you this, but I'm gonna repeat it here as well. It just gives you the direction, it sets the expectations, how you're gonna approach your case, and also you make more or less the statement what you want to achieve, because you know your dissertation is the actual statement that you're making for the corporate world, and that's how you want to appear in it, because you know you have to be interested in that topic, or more or less you want to be following a career in this field. So you need to have, obviously in this case you have the statement, and then we go to the actual application of the things that you're gonna do, which is the actual dissertation. But first, we need the statement. On that note, with the proposal, I suggest starting as soon as possible. It could be just minor notes, just writing down ideas for every single chapter, because probably you know that you need to write just a brief summary how you're gonna what you're gonna be writing in each of your chapters. You know, the aims and objectives, the introduction, findings and discussions, and the literature review. That's the big one. Just start. Don't think that if you don't know one thing or you don't know how you're gonna approach this thing, you cannot start. I mean, in my case, I was learning about the type of statistical analysis that I was doing until maybe 2 months before I was ready, because in the beginning you have to do something very important, and that is the literature review. Probably you know about this already. It's basically you just see where your work fits in this scientific environment or academic environment, depends what you're writing about. You just see what makes your work unique. This is really key. So my advice, and it's a must, I would say, that you go through as many resources, academic resources as possible when you're writing your proposal, because first, you're gonna get a good mark on your proposal because it's a percentage of your dissertation. And then once you have all those sources, it's just your work is halfway done, more or less, because you already know where your work fits in, as I said. And then you have material to write about. You have researches that have been already undertaken, and you know what more or less to expect. You know what types of methodologies they've used, so you know, already have an idea how you actually are gonna approach the case, and are you gonna use the same methods or use a different one to make your work unique. The key topic is to be unique, otherwise it's plagiarism, you know, which will annul your work. My message is do as much as possible, as much as you can, to have a great proposal. I got 77%. That might be great, that might be not for some, I don't know. I'm satisfied. I just went through a lot of sources because they were paying attention to the literature review, and so yeah, I did go through a lot of resources and the results were obvious. And finally, we go to the dissertation part. The dissertation part is the real deal, so to speak. That's where you get the statement from your proposal and you put it into practice into the dissertation. So of course, there are a lot of methodologies for research interviews, just using primary data, secondary data, and so on. So you go to work. Pretty much you go to work. You just start gathering your own data, which is the primary data, and the secondary one, which is gathered from the internet, say, or some textbooks. You just start applying it, comparing it, and you see the bigger picture. You see the results, and you get to more or less to a conclusion. So as you're doing it, you don't realize it, but actually what happens is you get good at researching stuff, and in general you more or less get the skills needed for the outside world. I mean, you apply the methodologies, you see if you have, for example, interviews, you get to meet some managerial people. I did business, so yeah, I'm coming up with this example with business managers and so on, and you just see the outside world. It's just the transition from the academic, from the uni type of life to the real one, or to the adult life, so to speak. The process is really interesting, and you just have to experience it to know what I'm talking about. In my case, let's go to my case. I was doing a financial topic, as I said, and pretty much all the data that I was using was secondary. I didn't do any interviews, and I didn't have any primary data. But that wasn't an issue, because the idea was you need to do a statistical analysis, and it's not about gathering new data. Okay, maybe gathering the most recent price changes is a primary data, but not really. I didn't gather it myself. And so if you're wondering if you need only primary data or only secondary, or if you're worried that you will not gather any primary data, don't worry. Got my 80% without any single primary data. So yeah, you just have to go and see what you can do. I didn't include ways how to do a particular chapter, like every single chapter, because you will see it in class anyways. So I'm not the lecturer, I'm not the person who has checked like hundreds or tens of dissertations, so I might mislead you in that matter. So I'm just saying what my experience was in general, and just on the motivational part. Hopefully you understand me, and yeah, still thank you. Give it a like if you like this video. It was the idea. Okay, bikes. And use Google Scholar. Use Google Scholar for me